Now I have the pleasure of introducing the next student nominator, Montag Chamber. They are a student at the University of California in Santa Barbara with a passionate interest in creative writing and English literature and linguistics. It's hard for me to describe them without understanding the immediate attraction that you have when you meet them, because they have such life and enthusiasm in their eyes, and they have such an incredible, infectious laugh. Anywhere I go from here on out and I hear that laugh, I know it will be Montag. One of the ways that I really resonated with them was in their view of the world, in their desire to, in their seeing their mission as a mission in which they want to communicate with people all over the world. And the medium that they're using to do this is through their creative writing and their poetry. They also have a real interest in fantasy, which creeps into the literature that they're really interested in, and it also is evident in some of the poetry as well. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Montag to come up and speak with us.
Hello. I'm excited to be able to speak for Erin. I've wanted to actually have the opportunity to tell her how meaningful her life has been to many other people's. I was thinking about it for a while, about what I was going to write to prepare for this little speech, because I've had a good amount of time to prepare for it. But I didn't want to talk about the things that she did right. I couldn't think of specific things I wanted to say, or I could think of too many specific things I wanted to say. She gave me one of my first novels that I read. I wrote my first story in her class, and she gave me a home when I needed one. But that's not what I want to talk about, because that's not what I think makes her a good teacher. Those are good things that she did because she's a good person. She's a good teacher because she understands what it means to be a teacher, and teachers have a place in people's lives that means something, because when you're a kid, you don't get to decide whether or not you're going to school. And so the people that are going to be there are going to either be good or bad for you. And she seems to be one of the few people that I've met and been able to intimately share a classroom with that seems to, in their actions, actively be trying to be a good force in people's lives. She's a friend to people. She tells stories, she sings, and that's not something that I've gotten the pleasure of being able to experience from other instances of education, and it's really one of the few and precious moments in my life that I've been able to experience what it means to learn and grow, and it's my pleasure to be able to welcome her to receive this award.
Is that good? Okay. Thank you. Oh, here.
I guess that's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to give this to my husband. The proud husband. Okay. So as everyone at table 3 and some of the people at table 11, and standing in the back, know, if you put a microphone in front of me, get ready, because I like to be on stage, and you're just lucky I'm not singing opera while I'm up here. So I wanted to first say congratulations to my fellow honorees, and just the absolute deepest thanks to the Carlston Family Foundation and past honorees, particularly Tim. Because your belief in me and your advocacy on my behalf means the world. And to know, very similar to what Kirsten said, to know that you saw me through my students' eyes and found me worthy of this honor is something that I cannot repay. So thank you. And to be here this weekend is to live, hopefully not a too brief fantasy, where education is celebrated as it should be at all times. For education is our one common thread, our one link to our past, our one infinite resource. And so many people treat education as a zero-sum game. So if you get some, I get less. But education is not finite, and instead it grows exponentially with each and every participant. And so when we were like, oh, who do you think nominated you? My husband said, I hope it's Montag, because Montag is our chosen family, and to have them here, it came just like Kirsten said, it came full circle, and we feel complete in that. And then also, I got to shout out Joe, who's another former student who flew in from New York, who's with us too. So. Stop it, you two. It's so special when my husband said, oh, it's Montag, I see the mohawk. And then I looked and I was like, oh, and Joe's with him. Like it was too much. So, and also, similar to Kirsten's story, we have a lot of similarities, Kirsten. We saw Montag Thursday night, and because we needed someone to watch our dogs while we were here, and I had asked them, and they said, oh, no, I gotta be gone on Saturday, I gotta go pick something up, so, playing the long con on us, so. In the past 17 years, I have learned more from my students than I could have ever taught them. I have learned that they will forget what parallelism is the day after the lesson, but will remember you asking how their performance or their game went. I've learned that, and this actually happened to me Thursday night, if a student emails you at 1 a.m. and asks if you want to read their poem about bisexuality or erasure in the LGBTQ community, you say yes. Please send that to me, of course. It was really good too. And I have learned that my students probably could not care less about the themes of the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a shot to my heart, but will pin their entire mood for the day on what you think of their ceramic project that they're so excited to show you. So. Students often ask me if I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, especially when they find out that I attended UCLA, because apparently the perception is that teachers either shouldn't have attended prestigious universities or should have had no other career options if you did. And I tell them honestly, I don't really remember if I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, but that someone else on our campus does. And that someone is also a 2010 Carlston honoree. And my high school and Montag and Joe's high school Latin teacher, Svetlana Lazarova. Lana, you have been in my corner since day one. You never let me use my voice for frivolous topics, but you always made me push myself into uncomfortable depths. And I remember that day that you called me and said, Erin, Ricky, who is our principal at the time, she says, Ricky is hiring for an English position. You will go down and interview. I was not ready. I hadn't finished my credential. I was really happy working at Borders Bookstore. I wanted to be like, you're not my mom, who I'll get to in a second. But I did it because I trusted you, and I knew that you wouldn't let me take the easy way out. And 17 years later, and it's 24 years after you first met me. You are still side by side with me in fighting for what's right and never what's easy. And to be here with you is the absolute highest achievement that I could ever dream. Okay, that's not true. It's the second highest achievement, because the highest is when students say to me, "Oh my gosh, you remind me of Mrs. Lazarova." So I was incredibly lucky growing up, and I still am, to have an older sister who loved me very dearly, mostly, and really wanted to see me succeed. And so, Talina, you have always treated me like an equal, even when it would have been so easy to hate the spoiled brat of the family. I'm the youngest, Talina's the oldest, you get it. I remember Talina got her very first new car. It was a Ford Eclipse. Of course, it was green. And I broke the passenger side visor immediately. I got into the passenger seat and I tried to adjust it and I just pulled the whole thing off. And I'm pretty sure I saw your heart break too when I yanked it. And you just laughed it off instead of pushing me out of the car. It would probably have been okay. When you were 20, you surprised your 13-year-old goth sister with her first Smashing Pumpkins concert, even though you didn't know any of their songs. And you loved it because you thought one song went, "Oh, Talina," and I did not have the heart to tell you that the lyrics were actually "Poor Selena." I wanted you to hear your name in the song. You were the first person to tell me that I would be Teacher of the Year, and you were right twice. And this afternoon, when I told you I was writing the portion about you, you said, "Well, that should be easy. You don't have to do anything because I already did it all." So I cannot repay you for everything that you have done to me, but I can share my joy and passion with you and love you with all my heart. To my mom, Sam, thanks. And to my husband, okay, no, we'll come back. Sorry, Mom. Okay, we're just kidding. Mom, I'm grateful for all the sacrifices that you made for us. You worked so hard to make our lives easier than yours, and you celebrated every single one of your kids' triumphs as though we had won the Nobel Prize or the Carlston Family Foundation Outstanding Teacher of the Year Award. Mom, you taught me the true meaning of strength and honesty, and you always took part in my education, from the field trips to the zoo and Catalina in elementary school to bringing baklava to Latin class in high school. You were a fixture throughout, and you always reminded me how important my education was. I don't know if you remember this. I remember this very well because I'm still mad about it. When I was a junior in high school, I couldn't go to the Fullerton Theater Festival because I had to work. I had a job at In-N-Out. But my mom still went as chaperone, without me. And afterwards, when she came back, everybody told me how cool my mom was. And I was like, yeah, that's great. I smell like onions for my shift. Okay, great. You brought, and I think this is obviously, Montag had talked briefly about, Chad and I providing them a home when needed. My mom has always brought children who needed a safe place into our house, and never questioned. And I credit you, Mom, entirely with my ability to create a classroom where everyone is welcome and has space to grow. When I was a senior in high school, I remember, this is a little bit of a sob story, but sorry. But we went to Kmart, and there was a sweater I really wanted, and we couldn't afford it. And so we went back home, and I was kind of, I was sad. But when I got the lead role in the fall play, you bought it anyways and surprised me with it. And I still have that sweater as a reminder of what true generosity and love are. And every day I walk into my class with the goal of making you proud. And I love you beyond words or expression. And seeing you here tonight makes me go, woo woo. That's what my mom says that all the time. And so because of all this support, I was exactly the kind of student you would expect to become a teacher. Straight A's. Like, Mom was telling a story tonight when I got my first B, and like I cried all night. All AP classes, like I'm exactly who you would expect to become a teacher. But I actually learned the most about being a teacher from a student who is the exact opposite of me. So straight F's, 6 periods of on-campus suspension, 4 years to pass algebra, regular fights, defiant, graduated from a continuation school. But lucky for me, he also worked at Borders, and even though he thought I was lying about being a teacher, I was 22 at the time. I can't blame him. And he hated his school years. He took a chance on me. And so after 15 years, I can say that my husband has made me a better teacher than I ever imagined I would be. This might come as a shock to some people, but I'm a white woman, and I teach in a majority Latina high school with a significant Filipino population in a historically black neighborhood. And so, Chad, your willingness to stand by me through my continuing journey as an anti-racist educator, to share your own racial and generational trauma, to answer my fumbling and often painful questions, to call me into the conversation when I retreated into the comfort of privilege. You've given me the courage to address that in the classroom. And you show me that I don't have to be scared to have those discussions and let students express and explore their identities. And our lifelong road to understanding and living with an adult ADHD diagnosis, various mental health issues, and dyscalculia. Hey, it turns out it might take 4 years to pass algebra when you have a learning disability that nobody knows about, have made me determined to create a classroom that embraces, nurtures, and celebrates neurodivergent students. And so because of you, I have the patience, the compassion, and the courage to be the person you love and that you wished you had as a teacher. Woo! All right. Well, I think we could just call it there. That's probably pretty good.